Yirale Pashas Pekude Dafresh Lamed Zayin Amud Beis in Zohar Kadosh. Akivin Dis Yaev Alahu Efer Mayim. Once you place water upon those ashes, Kedein Yu Taur Mitameh, then you've purified the impure. Mistama talking about the Efer Paraduma. Raz Demila Dichsiv Mechatas, and the secret of the matter is, as it's written, that these are waters of Chatas. Kamadas Amnis, as it's written, Lefesa Chatas Rubets, that the sin crouches at the entrance. So we have here a connection between the Mechatas and the crouching of the sin at the entrance that we've been Doresh. We begin the EU Pesach Chatas Rubets Vadai. We begin the EU Pesach Chatas Rubets Vadai. That since it's an entrance, the sin certainly crouches. Meaning, I guess there's this connection between the Tahor and Tameh. Meaning the entranceway, which is, I guess, Tahara, the Tameh is going to be there, or something. But let's see what it says. That first, it's written that you have to take the Efer Para, you have to take the Para outside the camps. That first it's impure, and now it's pure. The Mikdash Melech explains that Paraduma is the feminine concept of Klipas Noga. And after it's burnt and we place water upon it, it gets purified. So it's both. So the Noga goes down into the Klippas and can also go up and be purified. So that's why it has both the Tuma and the Tahara. So when you place the water on it, it becomes pure. V'hi tahor the nofik mitame, and this is a concept of purity that comes from the impurity shekodem shinis barara nikras tame. That before it's purified, it's called tame, and then it becomes pure. It's purity that comes from the impurity. Vayin b'me'ore or ostes sivches me'inyin tame. So I'm not sure what it says in Or, but he says, I saw another place that the word Tameh is Gematria 50, that there's 50 gates of Tuma. And that's the wood that was 50 amas tall that Muhammad made. That was the 50 gates of impurity of Haman. Ein betorah orga bipurim sufti b'maschil kiata avinu. Ukeshesarfo v'nasis efer, and when it's burnt and it becomes ashes, v'nasnu al ha'efer mayim, and you place upon the tameh, you place water upon it. Shahim hachasadim, which are the kindnesses of water, mitnak, which correspond with water, mitaknim hanoga shihi efer, that fixes, rectifies the noga, which is the ashes. Nikraim mei chatas, then called the waters of chatas. Perush, meaning to say, hamayim mitaknim chatas. Those are the waters that purify, that fix, that rectify the sin. Shehi klipas noga, which is the klipas noga. So mechatas isn't describing the water itself; it describes what the water does. That it lifts the klipas noga out of the klipas. Begin the ihu pesach chatas rovets, and since this is the concept of the sin crouches at the entrance, vadai ratzalomar, that is to say, begin the pesach chatas rovets vadai, and since it's the entrance, certainly the sin crouches. That is to say, kivin sham malchus nikreis pesach. That since the malchus is called the entrance, as is known with the malchus, it's the concept of the entranceway. Therefore, the klipas noga crouches there because it's the lowest level where the klipas noga can go down from, go up from. That's the concept of malchus. There's, you have the yuridus of malchus. She klipas noga rovets kedilianik mimena. So the klipas noga is crouching there to get a unique adkan lashona. That's the end of the quote there. Maybe he's actually quoting the Ma'oreor. Or maybe, this might be the end of the quote of the Mikdash Melech. Not 100% clear. Which quote this is? V'zeu al derech shenizbor sof parshas mishpatim daf kuf kafei amar beis b'inyan lo seva shel gedi b'chali v'imo hagedi hu sitra achra. It says don't. So in Zohar Mishpatim it's explained on don't cook a calf in its mother's milk. So the calf is the other side. That's the gedi. And through the sin of meat and milk, it gets a unika, a nurturance from Ima Ilah, the holy Ima, which is Malchus in this context. I guess Ima is not the Bina here, but Ima is Malchus, it's because I guess it's still a feminine concept. So you still have, we're talking about going from Malchus into the Klipas Noga. Even though he said before that this was Malchus of Noga, but it seems here that the Pesach is also the Malchus of Kedusha, giving to Noga. If you describe Noga as a partu for itself, you'd think that it would have its own Malchus. But here we're saying that it's getting a Unika from Malchus. At any rate, that's the concept of the sin is crouching at the entrance to get Unika from Malchus. So Mikol Makom Yish Lilmod Mizeh K'molai De Para Nasim Adaraba Mechatas, but you can learn from this that just like by the heifer, it doesn't remain impure, but rather exactly the opposite. It becomes waters that purify the sin, shemitaris atame, that purify the impure. Kamokein zeu inyan shnei gedai izim tovim diakov. You can understand that this is also the concept of these two young goats of Yaakov that he wanted to bring to that Yaakov brought to his father Yitzchak to get the bracha of Vayitein Lecha. So to speak, a purification of Esav, like we said before, that Esav is the Yetzer Hara, Yaakov is the Yetzer Tov, and the purification of the sin is instead of Esav's getting from Yitzchak, Yaakov does, and this is the concept of that we bring the goats of Yom Kippur, and that this directly brings to the concept of on this day I will atone for you, and afterwards it says to purify you. So it's just like then, it's comparable to the mechatas that purifies from the impure of Tumas Meis. Kinyan mechatas, just like the mechatas, v'zerakti aleichem mayim tohorim, that I'm going to sprinkle upon you pure waters. Like it says, and one goat as a sin offering to Hashem. And this is like people who do tshuva that elevate the sparks that fell in the three impure klippos. Lirachok שנעשה קרוב. And that's the concept of, the pasuk says, shalom shalom lirachok v'lekarov, the peace to those that were far away, they become close, which is the concept of tshuva. You bring the things that were far away, the impure, you bring it to the tahara. And through this you bring down from above also living waters, that's coming from the level of Chachma, אחכמה והיא רחוקה ממני. Like it says, I wanted to be wise, but it was far away from me, which it says by the para. By the para aduma, it said, that's what the Shlomo HaMelech said, that he was not able to grasp this level. That's on the simple meaning. But if you're saying that the Chachma was far away from me, but because I did the para aduma, I'm able to bring down this Chachma. That was rachok, but through the tshuva, nasa karov, you bring it close. Through the purification process, that you're taking the tamei and you're making it tahor, you're actually bringing that achekma v'hi rachok close. And I pronounce it that way instead of achekma because that's how the Rebbe pronounced it. Igeras HaKodesh Simin Kav Ches Dibur HaMaschel Lama Nitzmecha B'Likutei Torah B'Dibur HaMaschel Zo Chukas HaTorah V'Zeu Shnei Gidai Izim Tovim. That's the concept of these two good young goats that Yitzchak wanted, or that were given to Yitzchak. You have to remember also these belong to Rivka, and then she gave them over to Yaakov. So there's also that concept. And that from these goats we bring a sin offering to atone for sin. And that's the concept of tshuva as well. However, sheep, they go for a different korban. They go for the korban tamid, which is, instead of a korban chattas, it's an ola. Korban chattas, the kohanim eat part of it, whereas an ola gets completely burnt. Because the sheep is more corresponds with the righteous instead of tshuva. That Yaakov is the one that divided the sheep, so they correspond with the Yaakov. Whereas the Gedai Izim correspond with Esav. Shekoveshes Yitzro. That what does it mean? Haksavim Hifrid Yaakov. That Yaakov separated the sheep. That is to say, he conquered his Yetzer. The word kavash is I guess the same letters as keves or kesev. It's interesting that it uses haksavim instead of hakvasim, which would better fit the three letters keves or kavash. But at any rate, it says ksavim, and shekovesh yitzro. That's and also to Hifrid, he divided them, meaning to say he separated out the bad from the good, and that's, I guess, the concept of conquering his Yetzer. V'se'ir b'chinas tshuva, whereas the goat offering is the concept of repentance, and in the place where Bali Tshuva stand, that Tzadikim Gumorim can't stand, and perhaps that's also why he wanted to give the bracha to Yitzchak, wanted to give the bracha to Esav, because the Gedai Izim would be higher than the Ksavim. Explaining the Milo, the greatness of the skins of the goats over the Mishkan, and how they're a concept of Makif. Kitzer Inyan Mechatas. So in short, we talked about the waters of Chatas and how they purify. Mashin Izbarar Yitzar Hara. That it purifies the evil inclination that's called the sin that crouches at the entrance. The young goat in the milk of its mother, of the mother of Malchus, and it's burnt until it becomes ashes, and through the living waters. And we talked about the Hamshacha from Chacham. This is the concept of piece from the one that was far away that became close. Or the aliyas of the klipas nogo. Mamshich mebichinas achekama v'hi rachok, meaning you bring down from this concept of wisdom, which was far away. Letahar mitumas meis, zayin mlochin kadmoin, zayin mlochin teto, to purify from the impure of the dead, which correspond with the kings that died of tohu. That's what the tumas meis is those kings that died. It's a concept of elevation of the sparks. And that's the chiddush in the Kitzur. So too, that's the concept of the two goats when you make a korban chatas from them. V'hi b'chinas tshuva, that's the concept of tshuva. Azayv zarakti aleichem mayim tohorim utahartim, then I throw upon you pure waters and you'll become pure. Yud Gimel Sof Parshas Pekudei Darfesh Samach Zayin Amud Beis Va'ana Kaim Yimach Miyoma Disilidas. So in Zohar Pekudei. So before he brought from Pekudei Reish Lamed Zayin, and now he's bringing from Reish Samach Zayin. It says, I'm going to stand with you from the day that you're born. Like it says that the sin crouches at the entrance, meaning to say from the day that you're born. That meritorious are the righteous, that they know the holy paths to go in them. Meaning to say, I guess, to not stray, even though it's with you. The Yetzer Hara is with you from the beginning. Berashit al pasuk halim teitiv se'esub Marenu harav Rabbeinu Moshe al-Shech Sham. Vayin mizeh be mem aleph ein. I'm not sure what that is. Belikutim. Maybe Me'orenaim. Belikutim dafkuf mem tes amud aleph b'dibur maschal Yaakov Avinu lo meis, about the concept of Yaakov who didn't die. Pirish lefesach chatas explains the sin at the entrance, lasos pesach uknisa el hachachma, to make an entrance way for the wisdom. If we talked about the concept of mechatas before, I guess that was a concept of wisdom. So the pesach chatas, to make an opening, so to speak, for that mechatas, I guess, or that level of chatas. You're making an entrance way for the chachma, which in this context is called chatas. Chatas rovets, the sin crouches, that is because the greatness of light comes from the darkness. That's why the sin crouches in the entrance, because they come together. That from the darkness you get the light as well. So they're together, that the sin at the entrance of the light, I guess. We could say that because you're careful about the sin that's crouching in the entrance, you have revelation of the opening of the inner courtyard, which opens, so to speak, on the new month and Shabbos. And that's like the concept of the mechatas, purifying, where the concept of mechatas is a positive take on the word chatas in general, that you bring down the revelation, the opposite of the impurity from the impurity. Yud Gimel Bashmatos Zohar Chelik Beis Simin Hey Vayin Mashkaz Mize Barichus Al Pasuk V'Sir Echad Lechatas LaAvaya Sif Zayin Ches. He brings from Zohar Chelik Beis in Hashmatos, which is Simin Hey, but he doesn't break it down. And then he brings from the mimer that there's a mimer on one goat for a chatas for Hashem, and somehow connecting the concept of l'chatas l'Hashem with the goat to this whole idea. So it's obviously going to correspond with the things we said before about taking the chatas and bringing down purity or something positive from it.